Welcome to the USA Immigration Update News.
Breaking news tonight from Washington as a sweeping new federal directive sends shockwaves across the country and triggers urgent reactions from housing authorities, state officials, and immigrant communities. A major shift in national policy has begun to unfold, targeting one of America's most important public assistance programs at a moment when housing costs are soaring and millions of families are already struggling to stay afloat. This is USA State bringing you the latest developments with complete accuracy and clarity. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like, and share so you never miss the updates that matter most to you. A new executive directive has ordered federal agencies to enforce dramatically stricter rules on public housing programs, including Section 8, reshaping long-standing practices that have influenced community stability for decades. The Department of Housing and Urban Development oversees Section 8, a program that assists low-income households by subsidizing a portion of their rent, while families contribute approximately 30% of their own income. For years, the program has also included mixed-status families where some household members are legally present, while others are not. These families receive prorated assistance calculated only for those who were eligible, allowing children and legally present members to remain housed even if another member lacked immigration status. Under the new directive, this structure faces one of its toughest challenges yet. Federal housing authorities have been instructed to implement far more rigorous verification procedures and to remove any household that fails to meet the strength and compliance requirements. Early estimates suggest that around 100,000 individuals nationwide could feel the effects, many of them part of mixed-status families who rely on these subsidies to avoid homelessness or severe rent burden. Supporters of the directive argue that the tightening of rules reinforces the original purpose of public housing programs to serve citizens and permanent residents who meet full eligibility under federal law. They believe the move will protect taxpayer resources, encourage legal immigration pathways, and reduce pressure on long waiting lists in cities where thousands of eligible applicants have been unable to secure assistance due to limited funding and rising demand. To them, this directive is not only a legal necessity, but a practical step to ensure that benefits are properly aligned with those who qualify for them. Opposition, however, is emerging rapidly and forcefully. Critics warn that the impact on communities could be deep and immediate. Previous federal assessments showed that policies of this nature could affect more than 25,000 households, including over 55,000 children who are United States citizens. Many of these children live in states such as California, Texas, and New York, places already facing intense housing shortages, steep rent increases, and an expanding homelessness crisis. Advocates argue that removing families from subsidized units could destabilize entire neighborhoods and force individuals into overcrowded living conditions or emergency shelters. The concerns extend beyond housing affordability. Mixed-status families often pay higher rent portions than eligible households because their benefits are prorated, meaning housing authorities could actually lose significant revenue if these families are removed. National estimates suggest potential losses of up to $200 million per year for local agencies already operating under tight budgets and aging infrastructure demands. Officials warn that this could strain maintenance, reduce available services, and widen existing funding gaps. Community leaders also point out that many families affected by the directive include individuals contributing economically to their cities. They hold essential jobs, pay taxes, and support local businesses. Disruptions to their housing stability could lead to job loss, reduced productivity, and a ripple effect that impacts schools, childcare systems, and workforce participation. Children in these households face the possibility of being uprooted from schools, losing access to support programs, and facing emotional challenges tied to uncertainty and displacement. As the directive moves through implementation stages, housing rights groups and legal organizations are preparing extensive responses. These include public outreach campaigns to inform families of their rights, legal strategies aimed at delaying or blocking the rule, and community-based initiatives to minimize fear within immigrant neighborhoods. Many families remain unsure of how the new procedures will unfold and whether their documentation will meet evolving requirements. Federal officials have stated that the rollout will be gradual and subject to review processes conducted by local authorities. Even so, uncertainty is spreading rapidly because formal guidance has not yet been fully released, leaving many households in a vulnerable position. Advocates highlight that an earlier attempt to impose similar restrictions years ago led to overwhelming public opposition. Tens of thousands of comments were submitted, many from housing authorities, local governments, and community organizations. They argued that displacing families would be both costly and counterproductive, ultimately leading to higher program expenses and increased homelessness. That proposal was eventually withdrawn after facing logistical challenges and widespread criticism. This time, however, observers note that federal agencies may use accelerated review systems and digital verification tools, potentially implementing the directive more quickly than in previous attempts. Housing advocates worry that rapid implementation could leave families with limited time to prepare or appeal decisions. In cities already struggling with rising housing costs, even short-term displacement could have long-term consequences, making it harder for families to re-enter the housing market once removed. Supporters of the directive counter that stronger verification requirements will restore confidence in public institutions by ensuring that benefits are allocated strictly within the framework of federal law. They argue that long waiting lists demonstrate an urgent need to prioritize individuals who meet all eligibility criteria. They also believe that improved accuracy and documentation processes will make housing programs more efficient and transparent. This view resonates particularly with individuals concerned about fairness and the proper management of limited public resources. Still, critics maintain that the directive overlooks deeper issues contributing to the national housing crisis, including limited housing construction, rising land and development costs, and decades of underinvestment in affordable housing infrastructure. They argue that while compliance enforcement may adjust the eligibility landscape, it does nothing to expand the availability of affordable units or reduce the broader market pressures affecting millions of American renters. Local governments face additional challenges as they prepare for the administrative burden of updated compliance checks. Many housing agencies operate with limited staff and outdated systems, meaning that the increased workload could slow down other essential operations. Tenant notifications, appeals processes, and eligibility reviews will require additional resources at a time when many agencies are already stretched thin. Emergency assistance programs may also see increased demand if families lose housing and seek temporary shelter or relocation support. Community organizations across the country are stepping up to fill the gaps. They are offering workshops, legal resources, and guidance to help families navigate the verification period. Their efforts aim to reduce confusion and help residents understand their rights while encouraging them to gather essential documents ahead of official reviews. For many families, these organizations are the front line of assistance during a rapidly changing and emotionally challenging period. The debate now unfolding is not simply about housing assistance. It touches fundamental questions about fairness, family unity, economic stability, and national immigration strategy. Supporters emphasize protecting resources for citizens and ensuring that public programs remain aligned with legal requirements. Opponents warn of unnecessary hardship, increased homelessness, and the potential separation of families built over years in their communities. Both sides recognize that the outcome will shape the future of housing programs and influence the lived reality of thousands of households. As the review and enforcement process moves forward, families across the country are watching carefully, fully aware that decisions made in the coming months will affect their housing stability, economic security, and long-term future. Housing authorities are preparing for the operational challenges ahead. Community advocates are mobilizing outreach efforts, and federal agencies continue shaping the final guidance that will determine how and when the directive is implemented. This is a developing story with national implications, and U.S. Immigration Hub will continue monitoring every update as it unfolds.